The sword him shook the world. The sword seemed to form a dragon that wanted to break the sky. A dense killing intent appeared in this world. This killing intent was cold like the swords. Wang Lin's figure became a blur within the endless sword shadows. It was impossible to see him clearly, as he was surrounded by the endless sword shadows. I didn't think they'd be able to transform into 1,000,000 sword shadows after forcibly opening 4 of the 9 seals. Wang Lin opened his eyes, and his eyes shined brightly. His gaze seemed to combine with the surrounding sword shadows and become part of them. The moment his eyes opened, all the sword shadows trembled as if they couldn't bear this pressure. It was as if a primal animal was about to charge gout. For seals already have such power. It seems I underestimated these 2 short swords. In this case, I'll forcibly open more with my cultivation. I want to let the person that wants to kill me know that I, Wang Lin, am not so easy to kill. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as his hands formed a seal and pointed at the 2 short swords. Those 2 swords, one black, one white, released an earth-shattering howl that was like the roar of the dragons. It was as if 2 dragons were roaring at the sky. The 2 swords suddenly moved and pointed toward Wang Lin as if they were going to rebel. Wang Lin let out a cold snort and the Star of Law appeared. As it rotated, the new law that was created appeared. Thunder echoed across the sky and countless balls of thunder appeared and gathered. Also at this instant, blue fire appeared around the 2 swords. A battle intent erupted. Wang Lin waved his right hand as he roared. 5th seal, break for me. Popping sounds came from the 2 short swords. In an instant, large amounts of cracks appeared before the 2 short swords and unexpectedly exploded. What appeared before Wang Lin was still 2 swords, but now they could only be called daggers, as their appearance had shrunk a lot. The moment the 2 daggers appeared, the sword shadows around Wang Lin erupted. 1.5 million, 2 million, until there were 5 million. 5 million sword shadows covered the sky and spread across the continent of Imoluo. Even in the space outside Imoluo, one could feel the terrifying, destructive aura. What was even more shocking was that each of the 5 million sword shadows contained the power of thunder, fire, and battle intent. It was as if they would battle the world without the need to control them. 5 seals allows 5 million sword shadows. Good. Then I'll help you once more and refine you 2 daggers with the blood of an ancient god to break the rest of the seals in one go. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his hands formed a seal. His face immediately turned rosy. Ancient god blood was filled with vitality and could dispel all demons in the world. He forced out a mouthful of ancient good blood and spat it out. It turned into a blood mist that surrounded the 2 daggers. When he coughed out blood, an ancient god shadow appeared within the blood. The shadow split into 2 and entered the 2 daggers. At this instant, popping sounds came out from the dagger and they collapsed once more. They collapsed twice in a row. A thunderous rumble echoed as the number of sword shadows around Imoluo increased like crazy. 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 9 million. In the end, there were exactly 9,999,999 sword shadows around Wang Lin. Just one more to collapse the world. Wang Lin sat there and began to ponder. 7 seals have been opened. Unfortunately, with my cultivation level, I can't break them in a short period of time. Otherwise, from the looks of these 2 daggers, once the 8th seal is broken, they would reach 10 million. Although it's only one more sword, the gap is great. No harm. Even though I can't open the 8th seal, I can still obtain the effect of the 8th seal. I'm an ancient god, and an ancient god's body is powerful. I will be the last sword. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he inhaled. The almost 10 million swords immediately howled and gathered toward him. It looked like he was inhaling the world. Countless sword shadows entered Wang Lin's body. As the countless sword shadows entered his body, a thunderous rumble came from within him. He gave off a powerful killing intent that could shake the mind of anyone who saw him. Ordinary cultivators couldn't handle so many sword shadows, but it was no problem for Wang Lin, who was an ancient god. When he inhaled them, even his body turned silver. Gather! Wang Lin roared, and the almost 10 million sword shadows inside his body condensed and eventually gathered inside his right index finger. These 2 short swords are strange. When the almost 10 million sword shadows condensed in his right index finger, the sky became clear. The 2 daggers had become 2 strands of black and white energy that also entered Wang Lin's finger. Two illusory deer let out long hisses and circled Wang Lin's index finger. Eventually, they turned into two tattoos that imprinted on his finger. At this moment, Wang Lin's index finger could destroy the body of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Even an ordinary pseudo-Nirvana void treasure was no match. If one touched Wang Lin's index finger, it would immediately disintegrate. What was even more frightening was that this index finger also contained the laws of thunder, fire, and battle intent. It also contained Wang Lin's strength as an ancient god. This one finger could shock even a ghost god. Even a Heaven's Blight cultivator would have to dodge this finger. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he let out a breath that fell on his right index finger. The two tattoos were hidden and his index finger returned to normal. No one could see anything special about them. If I can catch that person off guard, then these 10 million sword shadows can definitely put him in a sorry state. Wang Lin looked up at the sky with a smile, but his eyes were gloomy. There are too many mortals on the continent of Mo Luo for the battle to occur here. It is the responsibility of us cultivators. Wang Lin silently got up and turned into a ray of light that quickly flew away from the continent of Mo Luo. His figure was a blur among the stars, and it didn't take long for him to find a wild continent. In a flash, Wang Lin charged at the wild continent. With a bang, his feet landed on this wild continent. His powerful divine sense spread out across the continent. Since I can't escape, I'll use this place as the battlefield. Wang Lin chose the highest peak in a mountain range and sat down. When I fused with the All-Seer's soul, I found out that there are still 7 more days until this life and death calamity. 7 days is more than enough time for me to prepare. Wang Lin muttered to himself as he raised his right hand and hit his forehead. 100 strands of milky white gas flew out of his head and turned into 100 balls of light. The world is ever-changing. Gather 100 avatars. Ancient clan ability. After Wang Lin spoke, the 100 balls of light moved and turned into 100 Wang Lins. These were all avatars and souls. This was an ancient god spell Wang Lin could use after his 6th star had slightly recovered. As his hand pushed forward, the 100 avatars scattered in all directions and rushed through the star fog. Wang Lin closed his eyes as if he was cultivating. Time gradually passed, and in the blink of an eye 2 days went by. His 100 avatars all contained the power of an ancient god and were all very powerful. In these 2 days, with his understanding of the rank 5 region, his 100 avatars brought back 100 wild continents. These 100 wild continents were moved here like crazy and surrounded the wild continent Wang Lin was on. This scene was enough to shock all the cultivators in the rank 5 region. At this moment, the area where Wang Lin placed the 100 wild continent had already taken a large portion of the region. From far away, it looked like the home of a clan from the ancient star system. These wild continents surrounded Wang Lin to form a giant formation. This formation used these continents as the frame and reached a terrifying level of power. The 100 avatars all returned and Wang Lin opened his eyes. He waved his hand and the annihilation restriction flew out around him and slowly rotated. Staring at the restriction, Wang Lin revealed a sneer. His hands moved like wind and didn't stop. Restrictions continued to spread out, permeating through the wild continent. They continued to spread until they were on all the wild continents and then connected as one. Creating this many restrictions had consumed a large amount of origin energy, but Wang Lin was half a foot into the Nirvana Shatterer stage, and therefore could absorb endless origin energy. He also had large amounts of origin crystals and didn't hesitate to take them out and absorb them. He also summoned the woman in silver and ordered her to use the life and death restriction. The woman in silver used it without hesitation, and with enough origin crystals, her life and death restriction also covered the continent and synchronized with Wang Lin's restrictions. If this was it, it won't revealed Wang Lin's method. After he left the 7-colored realm, he had begun studying the time restriction. Although he hadn't fully learned it, as the inheritor of the annihilation restriction and with his understanding of restrictions, he had grasped a bit. At this moment he used it and the time restriction started to appear. On the 5th day, the time restriction also filled all the continents. The power of time restriction depends on time. I have the flower time spell and can reverse time to help the time restriction reach a certain peak in a short period of time. The fusion of the 3 great restrictions has heaven-shaking power. Person who wants to kill me, Even though you are a third-step cultivator, you won't know all the things I have prepared for you." There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. Time was like a deadly knife hanging in the air that was rapidly falling toward Wang Lin. There were 2 more days. Now there were 100 wild continents around where Wang Lin was. They were arranged in a strange way, containing origin energy, along with a hint of law. Wang Lin and the woman in silver had shrouded the continents with 3 of the great restrictions, forming a storm that could destroy the heavens. However, Wang Lin continued to suppress it, not letting it explode until the surrounding continents had been refined into a giant restriction treasure using the 3 great restrictions. Master Flamespark had borrowed the Thunder Celestial Realm fragments to refine a treasure. Although Wang Lin's materials weren't as good, this method was equal and even a bit superior due to the 3 great restrictions. If Master Flamespark were to fight Wang Lin now, he would certainly lose. These 100 wild continents gave off a powerful pressure, but Wang Lin continued to suppress it until it was hidden. He wasn't arrogant enough to think he could fool a third-step cultivator, but he wanted its power to condense to a certain point before it erupted. Wang Lin had rarely prepared this crazily in a short period of time in all the life and death battles he had so far. Every extra thing he prepared would be an extra lifeline in this struggle. This time Wang Lin knew that a third-step cultivator wanted to kill him, and he had almost no chance of survival. If it was anyone else but Wang Lin, they would have likely already collapsed in despair and wouldn't have the will to resist. After all, it was a third-step cultivator, so all preparations done would be useless. However, Wang Lin was heaven-defying cultivator and royal ancient god. His pride, his dignity, his heaven-defying nature wouldn't allow him to yield. Not even a third-step cultivator could make him yield. "I can die, but I will die fighting, not suffer a humiliating death. If you want to kill me, you must pay the price." Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he had prepared for 5 days straight. He took a deep breath as his hands formed a seal, and then he suddenly opened his arms. As Wang Lin's hands moved, a bloodstorm spread out with Wang Lin as the center. In a short period of time, it spread across the wild continents until all of them were enveloped by it. There were large amount of fierce beasts on these wild continents. When Wang Lin moved the wild continents here, he didn't move the fierce beasts. As a result, the amount of fierce beasts gathered here was terrifying. The Tattoo clan ancestor once taught me tattoo spells, and Tashan also secretly told me what he learned as well. Tattoos are refined from animal skins, taking the essence of the beast to form a tattoo. They have heaven-shaking power. However, this spell is simply too terrifying and requires too many lives. I didn't want to use this, but now I'm forced to. There was a flash of red light in Wang Lin's eyes as he began a complicated chant. This chant turned into tattoos around him. They charged into the bloodstorm and in a flash covered all the wild continents. The fierce beasts on the wild continents all trembled and let out miserable screams as their bodies and blood quickly withered. Even their bones melted as the essence of their bodies condensed on a piece of skin between their eyebrows and formed a blood-colored tattoo. The countless fierce beasts let out earth-shattering roars that echoed across the Rank 5 region. All the cultivators in the Rank 5 region sensed this shock, and those with low cultivations levels even began to hallucinate as they couldn't control their minds. As the fierce beasts collapsed, these tattoos floated above all the wild continents, creating an astonishing pressure. This pressure was enough to destroy a late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Their body would instantly collapse, and it would be difficult for their origin soul to escape death. 10 million swords condensed into one is the first counterattack. I prepared for the third-step cultivator that wants to kill me. 100 wild continents fused with the 3 great restrictions is the second counterattack I have prepared for him. Countless tattoo clan tattoos formed by countless fierce beasts that could destroy the world will be the third counterattack. The endless origin crystals that piled up around Wang Lin all collapsed and dissipated as the origin energy inside was drained away. Even people at the Heaven's Blight stage would without a doubt die if they got hit by these 3 kill moves. But this isn't the limit of my 2,000 years of cultivation. Wang Lin had given it his all for this battle. He took a deep breath as his hand reached out and his storage space opened. A bolt of thunder flew out. The moment the thunder appeared, there was a roar. The thunder beast formed by the god-slaying war chariot appeared. As soon as it appeared, Wang Lin waved his right hand and all the decorations Master Flamespark had added on to it collapsed, and it returned to the mighty form of the past. Roar! This thunder beast let out a roar and its eyes revealed a powerful gaze. It had already gained intelligence, so it knew Wang Lin was facing a crisis. There are still several seals left on this god-slaying war chariot. If it was in the past, I wouldn't have opened them, but now I can. Wang Lin took a deep breath and blew forward. A gust of wind came from his mouth and landed on the thunder beast. The thunder beast trembled violently and released cracking sounds as if a mirror was shattering. Release all the seals on the second god-slaying war chariot. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly opened, revealed a cold gaze. As the wind fell on the war chariot, he spat a mouthful of blood that landed on the war chariot as well. The thunder beast let out a painful cry as its body expanded rapidly. The seals on its body rapidly collapsed until all of them were released. The god-slaying war chariot that didn't get to storm the celestial realm before it collapsed revealed itself once more to the world. As the thunder beast's body expanded, it became tens of thousands of feet tall. Its body quickly changed, its bottom half turning into a giant war chariot. Its upper body changed drastically as well, becoming a giant spear. This spear was connected with the war chariot and gave off endless thunder when it appeared before Wang Lin. A heaven-shaking aura exploded from the war chariot and onto Wang Lin's body, causing him to stop breathing for a moment. Even the earth began trembling, and the 100 wild continents covered by the 3 great restrictions also trembled. Now it is worthy of being called God-slaying. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he waved his right hand and the giant war chariot fell down on his left side. The spear gave off a powerful killing intent as it pointed at the sky. Wang Lin's right hand reached out once more and a 5-colored butterfly came out and began circling him. There was also a blood swallow accompanying the butterfly. This third god-slaying war chariot is the strongest. Even now I can't open it all, but aside from the last one, I'm confident in opening the rest. Wang Lin's hand formed a seal, and blood flew out and landed on the butterfly. In an instant, the butterfly trembled and even its wings seemed to stop moving. Then a giant cocoon gradually appeared around it. This cocoon was similar to when it became a butterfly. The moment it appeared, endless origin energy began to gather. Even Wang Lin had his origin energy rapidly absorbed. As it absorbed origin energy, the cocoon grew bigger and bigger until it was 10,000 feet tall. Wang Lin's eyes closed as he continued to take out origin crystals for the cocoon to absorb. Soon the cocoon stopped growing in size, but the aura inside became more fierce. Time slowly passed and one day went by. The cocoon that was floating there suddenly collapsed and created a powerful blast that blew everything back. Even Wang Lin was pushed back over 10,000 feet, but his eyes were filled with ecstasy. As the cocoon collapsed, a 7-colored war chariot thousands of feet large appeared. This war chariot didn't have a spear, but possessed 7 terrifying thorns. As the thorns absorbed origin energy, they gave off a 7-colored glow. It suddenly landed and as Wang Lin moved, the 2 war chariots stood on his left and right. These 2 war chariots are my 4th counterattack. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time. If I had more time, I would be able to prepare a few more. Wang Lin looked up at the sky. There was only 1 day left. There was only 12 hours left. He predicted that in 12 hours, the person that wanted to kill him would come and the life and death crisis would begin. My last preparation will be to suck out the rust from the broken iron sword in the next 12 hours. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the broken iron sword flew out. Even if this iron sword was repaired, it wouldn't be enough to resist this crisis, and Wang Lin didn't intend to repair it as it was too late. What he wanted were the bloodstains on the iron sword. I can't find any clue about this blood, but I can feel that it contains an unimaginable force. It is similar to ancient god blood, but at the same time different. It is even a bit similar to the heaven's blood the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor mentioned. Wang Lin suddenly opened his mouth and inhaled. He swallowed the iron sword and began refining it inside his origin soul. A lonely figure moved among the stars, wearing white with a head of flowing blue hair, giving off a superb sense of beauty. Li Qianmei flew ahead with confusion and determination. There were still tears on her face as she bit her lower lip and flew faster and faster. There are some things in this world that have no logic, and one can only rely on their feelings. It doesn't matter whether it was worth it or not, it had to be done. She let out a sigh as she endured the sadness and bitterness in her heart. She flew even faster. Rank 9 region where the god sect was, hidden deep within the fog, was a cultivation planet. There was a large formation here, and the center was a very gorgeous palace. Inside the palace, Mu Bingmei sat there as she stared ahead. Her beautiful face revealed an indifferent expression. Why are you trapping me here? Wang Xianxia was sitting outside the palace and frowned as she said, Big sister Mu, it is difficult to violate teacher's order. Little sister is also very puzzled. Perhaps teacher gave this order because he wants you to recover as soon as possible. Mu Bingmei silently pondered. She didn't understand why the god sect's head elder was like this, and it gave off a strange feeling. There was a tingling sensation in her heart that she couldn't make out. It was as if something big was going to happen, and it was going to happen to someone she knew. At this moment, Mu Bingmei didn't know that the rank 8 sect competition had been cancelled, or that Li Qianmei had left the heaven-breaking sect. She didn't know that Wang Lin was facing his biggest crisis yet, his fate unknown. If she knew all of this, how would she choose? Time slowly passed, and Wang Lin still sat on the wild continent. His origin soul had turned into fire under the 2 pieces of the broken sword, forcing out the blood stains on them. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours until 10 hours had passed. After consuming all the origin crystals, he had finally forced out 30% of the blood stains from the iron sword. This dark blood turned into a bean-sized pill that gave off a strange aura and floated around Wang Lin. Forcing out 30% of the blood from the iron sword was Wang Lin's limit. Even if he had more time, he wouldn't be able to force out more. If it wasn't for the danger forcing him into peak condition, he wouldn't have been able to force so much out. He then put away the iron sword and the woman in silver. He sat there and adjusted his body. His heart rate slowed down until it took several breaths for it to beat once. It was dead silent. The last 2 hours slowly passed. At the last moment, Wang Lin opened his eyes and calmly looked at the sky. At this instant, the star fog began to surge and an unimaginable pressure slowly came out of the fog. He's arrived. Wang Lin's pupils suddenly shrank but soon returned to normal as he coldly stared at the sky. That pressure was heaven-shaking. The moment it appeared, the earth trembled and showed signs of collapse. At this instant, all the fog shrouding the rank 5 region was suddenly pushed back. The fog moved like a wave, and the roars from the fog became even more intense. It was as if all the fierce beasts inside the fog were terrified. At the same time, a giant vortex made of fog suddenly appeared at the edge of Wang Lin's vision. A thunderous rumble echoed as a giant arm came out from the vortex and shot toward Wang Lin. The arm was very old and was filled with wrinkles. It was the hand of an elder. At this moment it reached toward Wang Lin, and it seemed as if the entire world was going to collapse before it. The origin energy of the world seemed to be sealed by a strange force. None remained within this region. The speed of that giant hand was indescribable. The moment Wang Lin saw it come out of the vortex, it was above his head, reaching toward him like grabbing an ant. There were no words, no questions, no chance for survival as the hand descended. Wang Lin had encountered this in the 7-colored realm before as well. It seemed every third-step cultivator liked spells like these that would crush those they considered ants. It seemed like aside from other third-step cultivators, no one could make these people appear in their real bodies, much less an ant like Wang Lin. However, an ant could still bite, struggle, and resist. Not to mention Wang Lin had never considered himself an ant. Even if he did, he would still want to devour the world, filled with defying intent. The moment the hand reached down, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a frenzied gaze and he let out a cold snort. He leaped at the hand like a meteor. Not even third-step cultivators can make me yield. The battle intent inside Wang Lin's heart ignited, and the star of law between his eyebrows rotated like crazy. The moment he charged out, he closed in on the hand, and when it reached at him, he let out a heaven-shaking roar. 10 million sword shadows. Wang Lin's right index finger pointed at the hand that was closing in on him. The sword energy hidden inside suddenly erupted. 1, 2, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. 5 million, 8 million. 9,999,999. Just one sword shadow short of 10 million erupted from Wang Lin's right index finger. At this moment, Wang Lin's right index finger became the last sword shadow, and the sword shadows reached 10 million, a level of completion. The moment that completion was reached, the shadows of 2 deer appeared and surrounded Wang Lin's index finger as it collided with the hand. This was the collision of a palm and a finger. It was 10 million sword shadows condensed into one. It had the power to kill all Nirvana Shatterer cultivators, and even Heaven's Blight cultivators would be shocked. This was Wang Lin's first attack against the person that wanted to kill him. A thunderous bang echoed across the world. This shockwave spread across the entire Rank 5 region, and caused all the various cultivators to cough out blood. Their faces were pale and filled with indescribable horror. Everything in the world seemed to slow down. Wang Lin's finger landed on the hand at this moment, and the 10 million sword shadows hidden inside his finger erupted. The sword shadows rushed into the huge hand like crazy. The 10 million sword shadows carried Wang Lin's madness, unwillingness, and his spirit as a heaven-defying cultivator into the hand in an extreme fashion. The 2 deer shadows rushed out with the 10 million sword shadows and turned into black and white gas that entered the palm. Popping sounds echoed from inside the hand and seemed to replace all sounds in the world. It was as if the heavens themselves had stopped moving. The only thing left in this world was the scene of Wang Lin's finger colliding with that palm. The giant, desolate palm suddenly paused for a moment, and endless popping sounds echoed. If one looked closely, there seemed to be 10 million silver snakes moving around under its skin, causing the popping sounds to become even more intense. A thunderous rumble echoed as if the world was going to collapse. The skin of the hand burst, but strangely, there was no blood, and not even a sliver of origin energy came out. The hand rose after the pause, and a soft exclamation came from the endless fog behind the hand. An ancient voice came from the fog as a powerful pressure suddenly descended from the sky. You have some skill. However, how can a firefly compare to the moon? You dare to rise into the air before me? Get back down. That pressure was extremely powerful. If a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator touched it, they would immediately die. When it landed on Wang Lin, he coughed out blood. It felt like a carriage weighing 10 million tons or countless cultivation planets were smashing into him. Popping sounds came from his bones as the pressure crushed down and he was smashed into the ground. He had no power to resist at all. However, Wang Lin had the body of an ancient god. After wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, he roared, 10 million sword shadows collapse! 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 Wang Lin's voice was filled with a crazy amount of killing intent. He had been a heaven-defying cultivator all his life. He defied the world and would never yield. The moment his voice echoed, the 10 million sword shadows that had entered the hand suddenly trembled and exploded. The explosion of the 10 million sword shadows was impossible to describe, and a rumble that could collapse the Rank 5 region echoed. In a flash, a heaven-defying aura spread out from the hand. It was as if 10 million cultivators had turned into flying swords, entered the hand, and launched a crazed self-destructive attack. The roar seemed to come from ancient times, shocking the world. This spell was enough to kill any Nirvana Shatterer cultivator, and even Heaven's Blight cultivators would be forced off in an sorry state. However, at this moment, the giant hand suddenly trembled and a strange force appeared. The collapse of the 10 million sword shadows suddenly dissipated. The hand was left unscathed. There was only a red point at the center of the palm, and a drop of blood fell. Wang Lin's spells were able to destroy 4 fingers from Taoist Blue Dream. Now his power had increased greatly, and the power of the unsealed swords were not ordinary. In Wang Lin's first exchange with Taoist water, Wang Lin coughed out blood. Intense pain came from his bones, his body felt like it was being torn apart, and he was smashed down from the sky. However, Taoist water was injured. Even thought it was only a small wound, he was still injured. A third-step cultivator that wanted to kill a small Nirvana Shatterer cultivator had suffered a small wound from the Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Wang Lin knew that if news of this spread out, it would be enough to shock everyone in the sealed realm and the outer realm. The third step was a legendary cultivation level. In the sealed realm, third-step cultivators were extremely rare. Even in the outer realm, they were extremely rare. A third-step cultivator could sweep the world and would even dare to battle heaven itself. They were like the emperors among cultivators. All cultivators were like ants before them and could be easily wiped out. A Nirvana Shatterer cultivator could be a teacher in a sect, and a Heaven's Blight cultivator could be a high elder, but before a third step cultivator, they were all like ants that could be killed at will. This was strength. This was the cruel truth of the cultivation world. The law of the jungle. If Wang Lin was a third step cultivator, Taoist Water would have been extremely cautious with his desire to kill him. He most likely wouldn't have chosen to fight at all, and instead would have invited Wang Lin as an esteemed guest. Then the two would sit down and trade for what they wanted. If Wang Lin was a third step cultivator, he could have swept through the Alliance, Cloud Sea, and all heaven. Even Master Lu Fu would be very polite and would show respect. Neither side would provoke the other. Strength was everything, and it was the key to surviving in this cruel cultivation world. I underestimated you, little ant, but the more you struggle, the more this old man wants to kill you. The ancient voice echoed throughout the world like thunder. The fog tumbled violently as a boy wearing a Taoist robe walked out. This boy had a head of white hair, but his skin was white and clear. When he came out, his gaze fell on Wang Lin below. Third step cultivators rarely appeared in person, as they could merge with the world and create a third step avatar anywhere. Only life and death battles between third step cultivators would cause them to fight in their real bodies. But Taoist Water had unexpectedly come in his real body. This obviously showed his will to kill Wang Lin, but also showed how cautious and important he thought of this matter. He was worried that Wang Lin was really the reincarnation of his master. He was worried that Wang Lin had heaven-defying treasures. The moment the white-haired boy walked out of the fog, killing intent erupted from Wang Lin's eyes. He was waiting for this moment, waiting for the enemy to reveal their true body. I can't think about that chance of survival I predicted, or I'll have a fallback plan and there won't be that fierceness in my heart. As a result, I'll without a doubt die. Only by putting my back against the wall and throwing away my life can I obtain peak power. Wang Lin revealed a ferocious and crazed expression. He cut off all thoughts of retreat and pushed himself into a dead end. In truth, the moment the white-haired boy appeared, he was already at a dead end. The moment the white-haired boy came out of the fog, Wang Lin waved his hands and let out a roar. If you want to kill me, you will have to pay a price. As Wang Lin roared, he flew into the air once more without retreating. Just at this moment, the 100 continents around Wang Lin began to roar and a blood light shined. Endless blood tattoos flew out. They completely filled the area, and it was impossible to calculate how many there were. As Wang Lin roared, the blood-colored tattoos flew at the white-haired boy, carrying with them the power to destroy the heavens. The howling was horrifying. Every single blood tattoo was formed by the blood essence of a fierce beast. They also contained Tao intent unique to the beasts in the Cloud Sea, causing the power of the blood tattoos to be far more powerful than ones refined in the other star systems. As they flew at the white-haired boy, the sky was dyed red, and a thunderous howl covered the sky. You know the Tattoo Clan's spell, but this spell is useless against this old man. Taoist Water's expression was neutral, and the moment the boundless tattoos closed in, he casually waved his right hand. Carefree Tao collapse. Taoist Water's voice was calm, but it gave the illusion that a god was roaring. His voice became more intense as it spread out like crazy. All the blood tattoos that collided with the invisible sound wave collapsed and couldn't get near Water Taoist at all. The collapse was endless, just like the amount of blood tattoos. A thunderous rumble echoed and the entire Rank 5 region trembled violently. There was a tearing sound as a spatial crack split the Rank 5 region in half. Tattoos turn into blood. Wang Lin's hands formed a seal and he spat out a mouthful of blood. This blood had a demonic glow, and the moment it appeared, all the blood from the collapsed tattoos gathered. In an instant, the blood before him gave off a bright red light and charged forward, breaking all spells in its path as it shot toward Taoist Water. However, as the blood closed in, one gaze from Taoist Tao caused it to collapse. At this moment, the white-haired boy reached out and one drop of blood stopped collapsing. It quickly flew into the boy's hand. The white-haired body held that drop of blood and swallowed it. Then his eyes began to shine. He's not his reincarnation. The collapse of the blood tattoos wasn't outside of Wang Lin's expectations. His 10 million sword shadows were able to leave a small wound. However, now that the other party had used third-step spells, all other spells would collapse. The Tattoo Clan spell was still a spell, so it naturally would have no effect. But this was exactly what Wang Lin wanted. As the blood collapsed and the tattoos were destroyed, the world was almost completely dyed red. At this moment, Wang Lin waved his hand and shouted, "Restriction Dao." A restriction wasn't a spell. It was formed from a strand of aura from ancient times that turned into its own Dao. In particular, Wang Lin had fused the three great restrictions, almost reaching the origin of restrictions. At this moment, the 100 wild continents began to shake and rapidly rotated under Wang Lin's control, smashing toward Taoist water. Annihilation restriction: seal the world. Life and death restriction: seal the body. Timar. Restriction: seal the origin soul. Three great restrictions as one seal. 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 Seal your world, seal your body and seal your origin soul. Wang Lin pointed forward. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Aside from the wild continent under Wang Lin, all of the other wild continents circled around Taoist water, creating a formation. A powerful pressure appeared and crushed down on Taoist water. The restrictions on these 100 wild continents that had been suppressed this whole time erupted. The annihilation restriction burst out, forming a giant cage that trapped the world. The life and death restriction formed two auras, one of life and one of death. They surrounded the white-haired boy, forming the life and death restriction. The time restriction had reversed 5,000 years due to Wang Lin's flowing time spell. Now it erupted with an ancient aura that shrouded the white-haired boy's origin soul. As Wang Lin spoke, the three great restrictions suddenly erupted. Three great restrictions. Unfortunately, the fourth restriction isn't present, or it might have had some power. Taoist Water's eyes lit up as he waved his right hand once more. With a wave of his hand, the world collapsed. The carefree Tao collapse he had just used hadn't dissipated, and the wave caused its power to reach a peak. It could collapse all living things in this world. The endless collapse echoed like crazy, causing cracks to appear on the 100 wild continents, and in the blink of an eye, they started collapsing one by one. It took a lot of power to collapse 100 wild continents. It was something only third-step cultivators could do. However, although the wild continents were collapsing, the three great restrictions were absorbing the blood left from the blood tattoos. The restrictions formed an octagon and sealed the white-haired body inside. The three restrictions could seal the world, the flesh, and the origin soul, but they couldn't seal the soul, because they were lacking the last restriction to truly fuse into one. However, Wang Lin was very smart. He had used the blood of the countless beast tattoos destroyed by this white-haired boy to dye the restriction. This allowed it so contain soul and show signs of a deformed completion. The spell of a mere ant. Even if you use the blood to complete it, it is still useless. The white-haired boy took a step forward and no longer used any spells. Instead, he forced his way forward. He had reached the third step and had completed his law. Where there was law, spells couldn't stop him. As he walked forward, the world seemed to create a path for him. Even the fusion of three restrictions trembled as no spells could stop him. The time restriction broke first, no longer sealing his origin soul. Then the life and death restriction collapsed, no longer sealing his body. Finally, the annihilation restriction dissipated, no longer sealing the world. Although those three great restrictions were destroyed, because they weren't spells or laws, the white-haired paused for just an instant. Everything Wang Lin had done was for this pause. Wang Lin's pupils shrank, his hair became disheveled, and his eyes turned bloodshot as he roared, "God-slaying war chariot!" The spear on the war chariot formed by the thunder beast shot out as a ray of light toward Taoist water. It was powerful, and as it flew through the air, it split the rank 5 region. After the spear, the 7 thorns from the 7-colored war chariot formed a rainbow that condensed and shot at Taoist water. At this moment, all law collapsed before these god-slaying war chariots. Laws couldn't stop them, the world couldn't stop them. No power could stop these two god-slaying war chariots. This was the real god-slaying war chariot. It had the power to slay the gods. Taoist water's expression changed for the first time. The god-slaying war chariots were refined by the well-known refining madman of the celestial realm. He was still looking for materials to complete them when the celestial realm collapsed. During that calamity, he died with monstrous regret. He had spent everything he had learned and cultivated on producing these war chariots. He didn't hesitate to travel the world to find materials and spend all his effort, causing his endless lifespan to rapidly wither. Near the end, he was white-haired and almost out of vitality. Even if the calamity hadn't come, he would have died after the god-slaying war chariots were complete. His dream was to create the strongest treasure in the world, to kill even the gods, to destroy law and split the world open. His regret was left in the jade, and in the end it fell in Wang Lin's hands. Today, at this moment, it was in Wang Lin's hand that it revealed its terrifying power to destroy the gods. Even though Taoist water had lived for tens of thousands of years, even though he was the disciple of the Lord of the Sealed Realm, even though he was the head elder of the God sect, he couldn't have known about everything that happened in the 4 celestial realms, let alone a celestial that had made a heaven-defying treasure that could threaten third-step cultivators. It's not a nirvana void treasure. It is impossible to figure out its rank. What kind of treasure is this? The white-haired boy's expression changed. He was here to kill Wang Lin, and he was 100% certain he would. The only thing he was worried about was the heaven-defying bead. He didn't think Wang Lin would have this kind of terrifying treasure. There wasn't time for him to think as the spear from the thunder beast broke through the sky. It split the rank 5 region in half and charged straight at Taoist water. There was no howling sound, only an indescribable killing intent. It was as if the spear had its own will. Once it flew out, it had to kill. After entering the 3rd step, Taoist water had rarely used his full power to fight an enemy. However, at this moment he revealed a serious expression. The moment the spear closed in, he waved his hands before his body. His right hand formed a claw and mercilessly slashed forward. Carefree slicing Tao. As water Taoist words echoed across the world, his right hand seemed to form the strongest slicing Tao. As he waved, popping sounds echoed, and it even felt like the void before him was being sliced up. The collapsed void suddenly expanded in a jagged shape and spread out. The popping sounds instantly reached a limit and echoed across the world like a roar. It quickly collided with the spear, creating a deafening roar. This violent roar quickly spread across the rank 5 and 6 regions. Countless cultivators coughed out blood. Their eyes filled with horror. The spear was surrounded by the jagged void. Thunder rumbles echoed, becoming louder and louder. The sound of friction spread out, and it was extremely sharp. When it entered Wang Lin's ears, it made him bleed from his orifices, as if his body was being cut up. Intense pain filled his body and he quickly retreated while coughing out blood. Water Taoist's eyes became even more serious and shined brightly. He raised his right hand up and mercilessly sliced down. Carefree cutting blade, destroy all laws. A thunder boom echoed and a giant crack appeared before Water Taoist. This crack had an irregular shape, as if it separated the heavens and earth. The moment it appeared, it shot forward. Everything it passed by was cut in half. In an instant, it closed in on the spear and mercilessly swept by. Rumble, 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 rumble. As the thunderous rumble echoed, the last wild continent Wang Lin was on collapsed into countless pieces. His face was pale and blood was spewing out from many parts of his body. He was covered in blood. As for the spear, it trembled as the spatial crack passed and then was split in half. It was forced in half by Water Taoist's spell. After destroying the spear, Water Taoist didn't relax at all. His eyes became even more serious. After the spear collapsed, a ray of 7-colored light shot out toward Taoist water. This was the 3rd god-slaying war chariot, the strongest of the 3 war chariots. This bright, 7-colored light was what Taoist water was really worried about. He felt like it was somewhat terrifying. The 7-colored light was too fast, and for the first time, Taoist water retreated 3 steps as he waved his right hand. The spatial crack swept by and was about to cut the 7-colored light. However, the moment the crack touched the 7-colored light, the crack began to rapidly shrink. It took an instant for it to completely close as if it was never there. This sudden change caused Taoist water's expression to change greatly, and he retreated a few more steps. His hands formed seals as his eyes lit up and he spat out a cloud of fog. This fog was black, and an earth-shattering roar came from inside. There were 9 large and hideous ghosts inside. They immediately charged out at the 7-colored light and roared. Every single ghost was equal to the full power of a 3rd Heaven's Blight cultivator. Forget the 2 carefree Dao spells, just these 9 ghosts would allow him to do as he wished in any star system, rarely meeting any resistance on the way. At this moment, these 9 ghosts let out hideous roars and closed in to devour the 7-colored light. They trembled as the 7-colored light shined brightly. The 9 ghosts let out mournful screams and quickly retreated, not daring to stop it. 2 of the ghosts that were too slow were slammed by the 7-colored light. They immediately disintegrated into large amounts of origin energy and dissipated. Taoist Water's expression was gloomy as he retreated once more. His hands formed seals again as he used another spell. At this moment Wang Lin's face was pale, but killing intent filled his eyes. With a wave of his right hand, the trident appeared and his body quickly grew into an ancient god thousands of feet tall. He took a step forward and threw the trident at Taoist Water. As he moved forward, his left hand formed a seal and pointed at the sky. Call the wind suddenly appeared, turning into black dragons. As the destructive wind grew, the black dragons turned into a heaven-piercing spear that charged at Taoist Water. Summon the rain also appeared. The raindrops turned into ice swords that shot out. At the same time, magic arsenal activated, and the celestial sealing print flew out from inside Wang Lin's mouth. Countless battle souls appeared and a series of mournful roars echoed. They charged at Taoist Water under the lead of Master Void and the All-Seer. Mountain Crumble also appeared as Wang Lin moved forward and roared with his footsteps. Illusory volcanoes erupted one by one, releasing heaven-shattering destructive power. Taoist Water didn't care about any of this at all. The only thing he cared about was the 7-colored light that was charging at him like crazy. His hands formed a seal and he closed his eyes. He opened his eyes an instant later. The moment he opened his eyes, his gaze seemed to turn solid and landed on the 7-colored light. There was a bang and then a heaven-shaking impact spread out. The moment Taoist Water looked at the 7-colored light, 1 color collapsed. However, the other 6 didn't and they closed in like crazy. Water Taoist closed his eyes and opened them once more. In a short period of time, he closed and opened his eyes several times. Rumble, 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 rumble. This no-name spell caused some of the 7 lights to suddenly collapse, leaving only 3 colors. It was now only 100 feet away. With its speed, it couldn't even be described as an instant. At this moment of danger, Taoist Water's eyes revealed a strange light in her said, "Stop spell." The moment those words appeared, he stopped the heavens, he stopped the earth, he stopped all laws, he stopped all movement, he stopped all spells, and he stopped all living things. At this instant, all the spells Wang Lin had used paused in the void. Even his body stopped. His eyes were filled with shock. All the origin energy inside his body seemed to have stopped, and he wasn't able to move even an inch. The only 3 colors left, red, yellow, and blue, released a thunderous rumble as if someone was pulling the reins on countless wild horses. They struggled fiercely before they completely stopped 30 feet before Taoist Water. What a powerful treasure! Unfortunately, there is obviously still 1 seal left. Otherwise, even with my early-stage Nirvana Void cultivation, I would have been injured. Even more, this old man was forced to use the stop spell. Lu Zihao, for you to be able to do this, you can be considered a heavenly genius. Nirvana Void, Spirit Void, Arcane Void, and Void Turbulent. The 3rd step has 4 realms. Only after reaching the Spirit Void stage would I not be injured by this treasure once completely activated. Taoist Water's eyes lit up. This god-slaying god chariot shocked him a bit. If not for the fact that he knew a spell that didn't belong to this world, it might have been an issue. Although he wouldn't have died, he would have suffered injuries before he could kill this Lu Zihao. And as a 3rd step cultivator, to suffer the counterattack of an ant was in disgrace. You don't have the right to use this treasure, so this old man will take it. Taoist Water waved his sleeves and a vortex appeared between his eyebrows. The moment it appeared, it rushed out and devoured the red, yellow, and blue rays of light. The cultivation level difference between the 2 was like an uncrossable gully. Wang Lin looked at all of this stunned, but there was an unwilling flame burning inside his heart. I'm unwilling. I still have 3 more killing aces. Even if I die, I want this person to pay an unrecoverable price. At this moment in the wind celestial realm, the endless wind continued to flow through the realm. This gave the whole realm a desolate feeling as the wind howled, and this sense of desolation was so strong that it wouldn't dissipate at all. Herds of mosquito beasts moved with the wind. They were the only masters of the wind celestial realm. In the deepest part of the wind celestial realm, there were 3 floating continents, and one of them was dark red. The smell of blood lingered in the air as countless mosquito beasts floated in the sky, buzzing. There was a stone human statue on this dark red continent. At this moment, the stone person's eyes began to move and opened, revealing his ancient eyes. A strange aura slowly spread out from this person, but strangely, it didn't attract the attention of the mosquito beasts. It was as if this stone person didn't exist in their eyes. How can that Taoist water kill a piece I spent so much effort to place? The eyes of the stone man shined and he let out a cold snort. However, by borrowing his power, I can see if that child is really the reincarnation of that old man sealed realm lord, or if the heaven-defying bead is really in this child's hands. The wind of the celestial realm became even stronger. A wisp of wind flew out from the celestial realm's door and disappeared among the stars. The vortex between Taoist water's eyebrows devoured the 3 rays of light, and then he closed his eyes for a moment to absorb them. When he opened his eyes, there were red, yellow, and blue lights rotating in them. It was a shocking scene. His stop spell was very different from Wang Lin's. At that moment he stopped the world and he was the only thing left. All the spells stopped in the air but strangely enough didn't dissipate. It was as if without this white-haired boy's will, they would just linger there for tens of thousands of years. The spear formed by summon the wind floated in the air motionlessly. Even the destructive wind surrounding it stopped. The ice crystal swords formed by summon the rain stopped in the air. They looked like icicles floating in the air. There were still the countless battle souls from Magic Arsenal, including Master Void and the All-Seer. They all just floated motionlessly. Some of the many illusory volcanoes that had appeared before were previously giving off black smoke and magma had begun to flow out of them. However, at this moment the black smoke was still and the magma had stopped. Everything had stopped, including Wang Lin, who was stepping through the void above the black smoke. Wang Lin was still holding the trident tightly in his hand. 6 of Thunder Celestial by Fan's triple celestial spell. If this Li Zihao had learned them all, it might have been a bit difficult to kill him. Even if he had just learned Dark Moon Clear Skies, this would have been a bit difficult. However, compared to Dark Moon Clear Skies, these are all mere tricks. Water Taoist shook his head and no longer paid attention to Wang Lin. Instead, he arrived next to the god-slaying war chariot formed by the Thunder Beast. His gaze swept the god-slaying war chariot and he let out a cold snort. He raised his right hand and smashed down, causing the war chariot to collapse. The Thunder Beast was destroyed while still frozen. There are too many flaws with this treasure. Since I don't need it, I'll destroy it. Taoist Water was extremely arrogant and had a rather eccentric personality. He liked to destroy things other people treasured, provided they were useless to him. As a third-step cultivator at the early stage of Nirvana Void, Taoist Water was indeed qualified to do this. When the war chariot formed by the Thunder Beast collapsed, Wang Lin's eyes filled with sorrow. The pain in his heart turned into a boundless invisible flame that burned inside his body. However, it was all trapped inside his body. The grief caused 2 lines of blood tears to flow from his eyes. The god-slaying war chariot had accompanied him for a long time, but now it was destroyed. The cry in his heart set off like a storm as he stared at Taoist Water with a gloomy gaze. If I, Wang Lin, don't die from this calamity, I swear I'll kill this person. I must kill this person. I'll make him endure all kinds of torment before death. If I don't fulfill this oath, then let me be destroyed on the heaven-defying path. Taoist Water's gaze swept past Wang Lin. His favorite thing to do was look at someone when their powerful treasures were destroyed. That look of anger made him feel powerful. It made him feel the dignity he had lost many years ago. Seeing Wang Lin's gaze, Taoist Water felt even more pleased as he thought that Wang Lin was the owner of the heaven-defying bead and his master's descendant. While walking forward, Taoist Water arrived next to the 7-colored god-slaying war chariot. His eyes revealed a strange light as he waved his sleeve to take it away. However, there was a flash of light and the 7-colored butterfly appeared. The butterfly flapped its wings and dissipated into specks of light. When it dissipated, the 7-colored god-slaying chariot became an ordinary object. The treasure spirit would rather self-destruct than be taken by this old man. Taoist Water's eyes flashed cold as he raised his hand and smashed down. The god-slaying war chariot with the treasure spirit was torn apart. Now let me see if you have the heaven-defying bead. Taoist Water let out a cold snort and turned around to look at Wang Lin. At this moment it felt like the world was trembling and all the stars had dissipated. Wang Lin and Taoist Water were the only two people left. His gaze contained a powerful penetrating force when it landed directly on Wang Lin. At this instant, Wang Lin's body suddenly trembled. He felt like his body was being torn apart. Even his origin soul and soul felt like they were being pierced. All the secrets in his body were clearly revealed before this gaze. The intense pain caused the veins on Wang Lin's face to bulge. His body strained and sweat fell down like rain. However, he couldn't make a sound, as all of it was confined inside his body. Taoist Water swept Wang Lin's body inch by inch. In particular, he carefully examined Wang Lin's origin soul, and he gradually frowned. Nothing's there? Master said that the heaven-defying bead will merge with the origin soul, but his origin soul doesn't have the heaven-defying bead. He isn't Master's reincarnation, nor does he have the heaven-defying bead. Did I get the wrong person? Taoist Water frowned as he arrived next to Wang Lin. He raised his hand and chopped down. A thunderous roar echoed and a spatial crack opened. It was Wang Lin's storage space. Taoist Water used his shocking cultivation to easily open Wang Lin's storage space. His divine sense swept inside. If this storage space doesn't have heaven-defying bead, I'll search his soul. There was a flash of coldness in Taoist Water's eyes as he searched Wang Lin's storage space. There are many low-ranked things, but all of them are trash. Collapse. Thunderous rumbles echoed inside Wang Lin's storage space. All treasures that were looked at by Taoist Water collapsed into ashes. As he swept through, his eyes narrowed when saw Su Ligua inside Wang Lin's storage space. This is an interesting sword spirit, but it's still trash. Under his gaze, Su Ligua's body trembled, and he was about to us his flattery skills. However, before his could, the old man's destructive will descended. Just as the will was about to destroy Su Ligua, Taoist Water was suddenly shocked and moved towards Su Ligua. He immediately locked on to what he saw, which was a boundless group of mosquito beasts. Although they were in another storage space, it was connected to this one, so Taoist Water was immediately able to see them. This many giant mosquito beasts. Taoist Water was surprised, and his divine sense swept once more. This time he saw a coffin giving off a silver glow. There was a sleeping woman inside the coffin. Not everything inside his storage space is trash. He even has the Lightning Celestial Emperor's heaven-avoiding coffin. This heaven-avoiding coffin is a good treasure and is useful to me. Taoist Water split a portion of his divine sense toward the coffin and was about to take it, along with the woman inside. Just at this instant, Wang Lin's body trembled violently and his eyes revealed a never-before-seen madness. His bottom line wasn't the heaven-defying bead, his ancient god body, or the secrets in his soul, but this coffin, the woman inside this coffin. Water Taoist paused for a moment and noticed Wang Lin's abnormality. There was a flash of mockery in his eyes. You seem infatuated. This woman must be very important to you. I originally wanted to take this woman's body out later, but now I'll take her out in front of you. Rumor has it that a body not taken out from the heaven-avoiding coffin correctly will perish completely. Let's see if this rumor is true. Taoist Water's divine sense moved and surrounded the coffin to open it. His divine sense split off into many parts, looking for the heaven-defying bead. Just as he was about to open the heaven-avoiding coffin, one of his divine senses trembled as it saw the woman in silver inside the storage space. The moment his divine sense arrived, the woman in silver opened her eyes and her gaze collided with Taoist Water's divine sense. You are. Even with Taoist Water's mental fortitude and status as a third-step cultivator, his expression unexpectedly changed. There was a hint of panic and his mind became a mess. While his mind was a mess, an indescribably powerful force erupted from Wang Lin's body, and his eyes became filled with monstrous killing intent. The moment Taoist Water was going to open the coffin, he devoured the blood he had refined from the iron sword that for some reason wasn't discovered by Taoist Water. Borrowing this destructive aura, his body rumbled. With this explosion of power, his imprisoned body gained some mobility. Seven-colored nail. Wang Lin let out a heaven-shaking roar. From an area in his storage space Taoist water hadn't searched yet came a seven-colored light. The seven-colored nail shot out toward Taoist water's divine sense. A thunderous rumble echoed and Taoist water's expression changed greatly. The seven-colored nail was too fast as it pierced through his divine sense and shot toward the area between his eyebrows. Taoist water was very close to Wang Lin. The moment he saw the seven-colored nail, his pupils violently shrank. Sovereign seven-colored God Void Nail. You have this. In this battle, Wang Lin had shocked Taoist water many times. Now Taoist water saw the strange meteorite that had charged into the ancient star system countless years ago, and was refined by the sovereign. This meteorite was composed of an unknown metal, and was refined by the sovereign for 10,000 years into 108 seven-colored nails, named the seven-colored God Void Nails. Rumor has it that this unknown metal meteorite was extremely mysterious. The sovereign wanted to use a time spell to see where it was from. When he was about to succeed, a mysterious force interrupted him and he was almost seriously injured. However, even so, because the sovereign's was so powerful, he was able to see a blurry past of the meteorite when he was interrupted. The world was born and turned into the ancient star system. Then it was split into the inner and outer realms. However, in this vast universe it seems the ancient star system wasn't the only one. In the beginning of the world, the ancient star system wasn't the only one created. This meteorite seems to have come from another star system that was equal to the ancient star system, but is separated by an eternal gap. This was something the sovereign said after he saw through time, and he didn't hide this matter but declared it to the world. Therefore, the seven-colored God Void Nail's reputation soared. All the powerhouses knew of them. Taoist water had personally witnessed the sovereign use them against his master. Taoist water wasn't the main force in that battle, but when his master was studying the heaven-defying bead in closed-door cultivation, the sovereign used an extremely vicious treasure refined with the help of the ancient celestial realm cultivators to injure his master. Then the three lords of the ancient star system and several ancient celestial realm cultivators began a life-and-death battle against his master. What the sovereign used were the 108 seven-colored God Void Nails. At this moment, when he saw the seven-colored God Void Nail, he was shocked and quickly retreated. He was well aware of the power of this nail. If an ordinary third-step cultivator at the Nirvana Void stage had a nail pierce their body, they would suffer serious damage. These nails weren't made to kill cultivators, but to specifically kill third-step cultivators. This strangeness of the seven-colored nails was something not even the sovereign had figured out. He only knew that the nails were strong against someone strong and weak against someone weak. The higher the cultivation level, the greater damage it would inflict. It was impossible to figure this strange aspect of the nails out without knowing the origin of the meteorite. Nirvana Shatterer cultivators could survive a hit from the nails, such as Sima, who had come up with a method of breaking free, or Wang Lin, who had a body powerful enough to force it out. However, it was extremely difficult for third-step cultivators to force it out. After reaching the third step, there would be a strange change in the body. This change was an increase in power but also a bizarre change. However, this change was stopped by the seven-colored nail. The higher the cultivation level, the more difficult it was to break free from the seven-colored nail. This matter was very strange and couldn't be explained. Taoist water was first shocked by the large mosquito herd. Then he met the woman in silver. The moment he saw her, he immediately recognized her. The shock caused his mind to enter a rare state of chaos. While his mind was a mess, he didn't think a mere ant like Wang Lin could break free from his stop spell and use the seven-colored nail. All of this caused Taoist water's expression to change greatly. The seven-colored nail swept through the strange space and rushed at Taoist water's divine sense. After it tore his divine sense to shreds, it charged out from the storage space and headed directly for the area between Taoist water's eyebrows. He was too close, so Taoist water retreated like crazy, but the seven-colored nail was also fast. It appeared and released a roar as it broke through the world, appearing between Taoist water's eyebrows in a flash. There was a thunderous bang as the seven-colored nail stabbed 1 inch into Taoist water's skull. It rotated like a drill as it attempted to enter his brain and destroy his Tao. Taoist Water's face was deathly pale as his hands formed a seal, attempting to resist the seven-colored nail. However, he had underestimated Wang Lin once more. He wanted to take out the woman from the coffin and touch Wang Lin's bottom line. Li Muan was Wang Lin's bottom line. If Wang Lin was already crazy facing the life and death crisis, then when Taoist Water was going to take out Li Muan, he became insane. This kind of insanity was no different from being stabbed by the seven-colored nail. This was no longer a fight for his life, but something even more important. Under this insanity, there was also the blood from the iron sword that had fused with Wang Lin's origin soul. This was the blood of a 9-star ancient god and also the blood of the heavens. When it fused with Wang Lin's origin soul, his body began to burn, his origin soul began to burn, and even his soul began to burn. It was as if there was an indescribable force erupting from his body. Popping sounds echoed as the stop spell around him collapsed. Wang Lin charged out with a roar as his ancient god stars rotated and his star of law appeared as well. Holding the trident, Wang Lin charged straight at Taoist Water. His eyes were red and the red light extended several feet out from his eyes. Popping sounds came from his body like crazy. It was impossible to tell if it was his heartbeat or his bones colliding. Even Taoist Water felt shocked when he saw this. In particular, the monstrous red light coming from Wang Lin's body made his pupils shrink. He took a step back and his speed suddenly increased while retreating. What he feared wasn't Wang Lin's spell, but the red light inside Wang Lin's body. At this moment, all his power was being used to resist the seven-colored nail between his eyebrows, so he had no time to pay attention to Wang Lin. His eyes lit up, and the speed of his retreat could collapse the void. How could Wang Lin let him retreat? All his preparation, all his spells, and all his treasures were used to create this situation. If the enemy had time to resist the seven-colored nail and suppress it, he would without a doubt die. The moment Taoist Water retreated, Wang Lin charged out like crazy. The blood that he had devoured began to burn, and he was like a burning meteor. As he rushed, he threw the trident in his hand. His body trembled as he used all the power in his body on the trident. The trident turned into a vicious dragon that charged at Taoist Water. The seven-colored light between Taoist Water's eyebrows shined brightly, and was rotating rapidly to break into his skull. However, Taoist Water was using all his power as a third-step cultivator to resist it. The dragon formed by the trident closed in, and as Taoist Water retreated, his eyes lit up. Even with the seven-colored god void nail, it's useless. Let me show you the gap between third-step cultivators and ants like you. There was indifference in Taoist Water's eyes as he waved his right hand. A portion of his power gathered in his right hand. I wanted to search your soul, but since you're looking for death, this old man will fulfill your wish. Carefree extinction Tao. Extinguish everything before him. Taoist Water's right hand formed a seal and pushed forward. This palm caused a thunderous roar and a blast of air gathered from all directions within 10 million kilometers. White lines began to form. If one looked from far away, they would clearly see that a giant diamond shape was forming within the 10 million kilometer area. The moment the diamond shape appeared, there was a thunderous roar and the diamond rapidly contracted. As it contracted, the shockwave became even more powerful. It was as if the world inside the diamond was separated from the outside, forming an unimaginable pressure. Taoist Water wanted to use this method to squeeze Wang Lin to death. The diamond shape rapidly contracted and soon shrank from 10 million kilometers to 1 million, 100,000, 50,000, 30,000, 10,000. A destructive aura filled the area as the diamond shrank once more to 8,000, 5,000, 3,000, 1,500, until it was only 1,000 feet wide. It instantly contracted from 10 million kilometers to 1,000 feet. This rapid contraction formed an earth-shattering pressure that could crush all existences in the world. At this moment, this powerful pressure crushed down on Wang Lin, and the dragon formed by the trident. Destroy, extinguish, collapse. Taoist Water retreated as words came from his mouth. The moment he spoke, the diamond-shaped lines contracted like crazy toward Wang Lin. It gave off a flash that lit up the entire star field and wrapped around Wang Lin's body. The power of 10 million kilometers of space condensed onto one person was the same as almost a dozen cultivation planets exploding. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the stars and shook the star system. At this moment, the rank 5, 6, 7, and even 8 regions could hear this thunderous rumble. Wang Lin's body suddenly collapsed under this destructive force. His flesh and blood shattered. Even his head exploded. The trident immediately shattered and let out a miserable groan. The soul of the trident died. Absolute power. The might of a third-step cultivator that couldn't be challenged was displayed by Taoist water. From ancient times, no second-step cultivator could overcome a third-step cultivator. This was almost the same as the law of the heavens. However, just at this moment, Wang Lin's exploded body gave off a demonic red light. Time seemed to reverse as the light gathered. And like he was being reborn, Wang Lin's body reformed. Rebirth. This is impossible. Taoist water was stunned for a moment. The demonic red light surrounded Wang Lin's entire body. This red light came from the blood that fused with his origin soul. With the power of this strange blood, Wang Lin was able to reform his body in an instant after collapsing. Not even Wang Lin had time to think about this sudden development. He could clearly feel that the power from the blood was rapidly dissipating. It wouldn't take long for the power of the blood to completely dissipate. However, Wang Lin no longer cared about all of this. Now that his body had reformed, a crazy idea filled his body. He looked at Taoist water and charged out. As he charged out, his body rapidly changed and he changed into an ancient god that was thousands of feet tall. The 6 stars between his eyebrows rapidly rotated, and the star of law appeared as well. At a glance, he looked like a 7-star ancient god. A crazed aura came from his ancient god body. At this moment, it was as if Wang Lin had devoured countless celestial ascension fruits. He couldn't die, he must not die. He had to kill everything before him no matter the cost. Roar! As Wang Lin roared, he was like a vicious spirit from ancient times. His right hand formed a fist and smashed down on Taoist water. At the same time, a complex chant came from his mouth. The ancient god clan didn't have many spells, but each one was extremely powerful, and not something cultivators could understand. As Wang Lin's words echoed, a powerful vitality force erupted from his body. In this world, nothing could match an ancient god's vitality. Ancient god's spell, life exchange. Wang Lin let out a roar and threw a punch. This punch was so earth-shattering that the void before him suddenly collapsed. With this punch, Wang Lin's vitality dissipated rapidly, and the impact in that punch shot straight at Taoist water. There was a thunderous bang and the entire rank 5 region was about to collapse. Wang Lin's fist collided with Taoist water's right palm. Bang! Wang Lin coughed out blood and his body was thrown back, but he stopped himself after flying 10,000 feet. He revealed a mad expression and charged out once more. Taoist water's expression was unchanged, but his right felt slightly numb. He was using all his power to resist the 7-colored nail and had only split off a bit of power, but that palm was enough to destroy a peak nirvana shatterer cultivator. To exchange life for power, this is only a temporary boost. I want to see how many punches you can throw. As he spoke, Wang Lin had come again and thrown the second punch. As he threw the second punch, a portion of his vitality dissipated. His originally white hair was now gray, and the stars between his eyebrows were dimmer. The second punch arrived. The moment it collided with Taoist water's palm, Wang Lin endured the injury in his body and revealed a bitter smile. Even though he was injured, he threw the third punch, fourth punch, fifth punch, sixth punch. In a flash, Wang Lin threw 10 punches. These 10 punches wasted too much vitality. When the 10 punches landed, the shockwaves spread and the entire rank 5 region collapsed. Countless spatial cracks appeared in the rank 5 region, and the cold wind swept the rank 5 region. Wang Lin's hair fell, wrinkles appeared, and he suddenly became old. However, his eyes were still red and gave off a crazed battle intent. Thunderous rumbles continued to echo as the punches continued to fly at Taoist water. Taoist water's expression was still the same after the second punch, but after the 6th punch, he pulled his right hand back. He retreated a few steps and spat out fog. He used this fog to resist Wang Lin's remaining punches. Even if you have the body of an ancient god, you can't withstand this kind of spell that expends life. To fight his old man with this kind of spell is laughable. Taoist water sneered. He had been able to hold off the 7-colored nail between his brows. No matter how hard it drilled, it couldn't break into his skull, but that heart-wrenching pain was still present. The sovereign's 7-colored god void nail is too strange. Fortunately, this child doesn't know how to properly use it. However, it is best to prevent any sudden changes. Daoist water let out a roar as he erupted his full cultivation in an attempt to force the 7-colored nail out. A majority of Wang Lin's vitality had dissipated from his body. He was like an old man who was near the end and gave off waves of death aura. The stars between his eyebrows were dim and wrinkles filled his body. It seemed like his body was aging rapidly. However, the fire in his eyes became even stronger. He let out a desolate roar and rushed out like a moth flying to a fire knowing he was going to die. How many knew that a moth flying toward a fire sometimes wasn't a yearning for the fire, but the determination to put that fire out? As he rushed out, Wang Lin's right hand formed a fist and waved. Thunderous rumbles replaced all sounds in the world as he threw the 11th punch, 12th punch, 13th punch, until the 19th punch suddenly erupted. Every single punch was the peak of Wang Lin's cultivation. A powerful blow from an ancient god, all in exchange for his vitality. The thunderous rumbles echoed across the world. Blood came out from Wang Lin's orifices and he was on the brink of death. But those punches didn't stop, and even Daoist water was moved by this. As the rumbles echoed, Daoist water's fog resisted it all. Not only did it not collapse, it was about to devour Wang Lin. Unfortunate. If you can last for more than 100 punches, you might be able to injure me while I'm resisting the 7-colored nail. However, 19 punches is your limit, and all the vitality in your body has collapsed. Without even me killing you, you would die in just a moment. Daoist water's indifferent voice spread out, but Wang Lin could not hear it anymore. His ears were filled with blood and he couldn't hear much. He was very tired and death aura had filled his body. A sense of the end filled his heart, seeming to want to take him far away. Away from this cruel cultivation world, from all this pain. Even the red light in his eyes dimmed, and they were without light. However, just as the fog pushed Wang Lin, he suddenly raised his head and his dimmed eyes shined brightly. Cultivators like us never shrink from a fight. I understand. This battle isn't a battle intent, but the determination to resist even knowing death is coming. Wang Lin revealed a miserable smile as he took a step forward and threw another punch. 20th punch. After that punch, black blood leaked out of the corner of Wang Lin's mouth and he began to laugh. This laugh was filled with the pride of an indomitable spirit that ruled above all living things. I, Wang Lin, began cultivating at 16 years old. The 21st punch flew out. The fog didn't stop and charged at Wang Lin. I entered the Hung Yu sect. Killed Tung Li. The 22nd punch flew out, and the fog suddenly stopped. I escaped to the Sea of Devils and formed my golden core. The 23rd punch. The fog shrank and let out a sharp roar. Reached the nascent soul stage, wiped out the Tung family. Shocked planet Suzaku. Became the All-Seer's disciple. Wang Lin continued to walk forward as he seemed to mutter to himself while laughing. This punch bombarded like crazy. The 24th, 25th, and 26th punches. The fog burst open and was forced back 30 feet. Yin and Yang stages, 3 realms of nirvana. I faced a lifetime of crisis, never yielded and killed countless people. The 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th punches. The fog retreated as it roared even more violently. It was frightened and retreated in panic. I have killed countless people since then. It took more than 2,000 years of cultivation to reach where I am now. The 31st punch. 39th punch. I battled the heavens, battled the earth, and today I battled a third-step cultivator. So what if I die? The 40th, 41st, 42 ND. 53rd punch. The only regret is that I can't resurrect my love, since I'll die with her. But so what? The 54th, 55th, 56th, 64th punches. The fog that was knocked back dissipated into the void. Even if I give up all my vitality, so what? The 65th, 66th, 67th, 75th punch. Blood spewed out from all over his body. He was now covered in blood. His body rapidly shrank and he began to rapidly age. Stiffness filled his body, making his internal organs decay, and his vitality was all gone. In truth, at the 23rd punch, his vitality was used up. The remaining punches all came from the power from the blood that had fused with his origin soul. I walked through the world standing upright. If I die in battle, so what? Wang Lin's voice was hoarse, as if even his voice contained the taste of blood. It could shock the mind of anyone who heard it. The 76th, 77th, 78th, 84th punch. My vitality ran out and I'm about to die, but the punches from this spell aren't over. Flowing time, reverse time, 5,000 years. Give me 5,000 years of vitality. Wang Lin looked up and smiled. After 84 punches, he continued to walk forward like a battle celestial walking forward with the determination to die. There was nothing before him that could stop him. There was a rare sign of seriousness in Taoist Water's eyes. For the first time, he felt like the experience this person had was not simple. As Wang Lin spoke, the collapsed void around him turned into a sea. Then a giant stone door appeared. A desolate aura spread out and shrouded Wang Lin. The 85th, 86th, 87th, 100th punch. In this short period of time, Wang Lin had consumed all the power of the blood, all the vitality in his body, and used flowing time to gain 5,000 more years of vitality to complete the shocking 100 punches. This was Wang Lin's strongest 100 punches. This was his entire life. 100 punches. There seemed to be no force in this world that could resist the 100 punches Wang Lin that had used his entire life to throw. These 100 punches contained Wang Lin's endless vitality, his 2,000 years of cultivation, all of his origin energy, and all the power from that mysterious blood from the iron sword. This was a pinnacle of Wang Lin's life. This was the strongest attack he had used with the intent to die. These 100 punches were Wang Lin. Like a moth going at the flame, these punches charged at Taoist water. A moth flew at the flame to put it out, to use its own body to put out this ancient flame. Taoist water's eyes became serious and were filled with disbelief. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The ant before him had managed to use vitality to punch 100 times. These were no ordinary 100 punches. They were created by the essence of his entire being. It was brilliant. It gave Taoist water a powerful sense of danger. If it wasn't for the fact that he was using all his power to resist the seven-colored nail, there would have been no danger. After all, the power of the third step was difficult to imagine. However, right now these 100 punches shocked Taoist water greatly. Thunderous rumbles turned into an endless storm that swept toward Taoist water. Taoist water's eyes lit up as his hands formed a seal and he pointed forward. A giant vortex of water appeared before his chest. The moment it appeared, it shot out like a big mouth ready to devour. The heavens and earth are infinite. Water Dao devour spell. Taoist water let out a roar as the huge vortex began to devour everything before it. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The endless rumbles almost caused the rank 6 region to collapse. There was no star fog left, as if a giant hole had appeared within the star fog. As the roar rumbled, Wang Lin's entire body was covered in blood. His heart beat weakly before it suddenly shattered. There was almost no light in his eyes. The collapse from the 100 punches was strong enough to destroy everything. Even someone at the Heaven's Blight stage would die. The shockwave spread out in all directions and swept across the cloud sea. As the shockwave spread out, all the star fog collapsed, all fierce beasts died, and even many wild continents collapsed. Even the rank 6 region suffered the same fate. It was as if a giant hole was opened in the cloud sea. Wind howled from the hole as if a terrifying demon was going to crawl out. Under this bombardment and shockwave, popping sounds echoed around Taoist water. His hand continued to move and he quickly retreated. The water vortex was pushed back and immediately went back into his body. Taoist water's clothes exploded and turned into fragments. Even his hair was scattered. His face was pale and blood came out of the corner of his mouth. A third-step cultivator was actually injured. I underestimated him. Since Taoist water was injured, he could no longer suppress the seven-colored nail. The seven-colored nail shined brightly. AHD roared once more as it drilled in 3 inches more, breaking his skull. Intense pain washed over him as Taoist water coughed out blood. The blood turned into countless runes that turned into seals to seal the nail. Good. For an ant like you to injure me, even if it was when I was resisting the seven-colored god void nail, You have shocked the world and can laugh in the afterlife. Taoist water wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Then monstrous killing intent filled his eyes. He took a step forward toward Wang Lin and raised his right hand. His right hand instantly covered the sky and descended on Wang Lin. You can now die. Even if you are reborn, I'll kill you. Carefree reincarnation Tao. This old man will kill you in 100 reincarnation cycles. I want to see how you will be reborn. Taoist water's voice was like a cold wind. As he waved his right hand, he seemed to extract all the reincarnation law in the world and formed his own reincarnation cycle. A giant wheel appeared as his hand moved. There was a howl as it smashed down on Wang Lin. Once Wang Lin was hit by this, he would be destroyed 100 times, and there would be no chance for survival. Just at this instant, a gust of wind tore through everything in this collapsed battleground. Slave Taoist water, if you kill him, I'll kill you. An ancient voice came from the void and echoed in this battlefield. Water Taoist's body suddenly stopped. He suddenly looked around at the void and his expression became gloomy. Old fellow, you want to stop me? You were sealed by the ancient celestial realm into a stone. They trapped you for 100,000 years to refine you into a magic treasure. Right now you are borrowing the power of the outside star system from the mosquito beast to survive. Yet you want to interfere? You want to stop me? What qualification do you have to stop me? Taoist water let out a cold snort. He no longer hesitated and his right hand slammed down on Wang Lin. However, just at this instant, the wind turned into a giant hand that reached for the reincarnation cycle that had appeared. Junior slave back then, you were only a slave before the Lord of the Sealed Realm and had to be respectful toward his old man. Now you have entered the third step but have become extremely arrogant. Even the evil ancient celestials couldn't kill me. They could only seal me for 100,000 years to refine me. You're a mere slave, a frog at the bottom of the well. The ancient voice was calm as the wind hand grabbed the wheel and suddenly pulled. A sharp howl suddenly echoed. Taoist water's expression changed and his hands formed a seal. Then he pointed and shouted, "Stop spell!" The moment he roared, the hand formed by wind stopped for a moment. It was just for a moment. Then popping sounds echoed and it broke free. It grabbed the wheel and mercilessly squeezed. The wheel collapsed and dissipated. Taoist water's pupils shrank violently and he exclaimed, "It's impossible. You have clearly been sealed. How can you resist my stop spell? I know you absorbed the source origin from the outer star system. You can absorb power from the outer star system. You have some insight." The ancient voice let out a cold snort as the hand formed by the wind reached for Taoist water. Taoist water let out a scream as his hands formed a seal and pointed at his chest. His cultivation suddenly exploded and a giant cultivation planet appeared behind him. This cultivation planet contained dense origin energy and gave off powerful vitality. There was enough vitality to match a rank 5 ancient god. Endless mutters come from the cultivation planet. The mutters turned into a strange energy that entered Taoist water's body. His eyes lit up and he roared. 2 billion yin and yang disciples, roar, roar, roar. Taoist water pointed at the sky and then quickly pointed 3 times at the wind arm that was reaching towards him. Every time he pointed, the giant cultivation planet behind him would tremble. The shadow of a cultivation planet would appear and fly toward the arm, charging at Taoist water. When the finger pointed 3 times, 3 large cultivation planet shadows shot at the wind hand. A shocking pressure descended in this void. Just like your original body, these 2 billion yin and yang disciples are neither male nor female waste. The ancient voice sneered. The wind arm didn't stop and charged forward. Rumble, rumble, rumble. 3 loud bangs echoed. The 3 cultivation planet shadows exploded into a destructive aura that rushed at the wind hand. The hand formed a seal that was also made of wind and collided with the destructive force from the 3 cultivation planet shadows. A thunderous rumble echoed. The hand didn't dissipate, but it was heavily damaged. It rushed toward Taoist water and pressed down between his eyebrows. Old fellow, you're meddling. Your original body can't come, and this is a mere avatar. Die for me, die, die. It was as if something had touched Taoist water's weak spot. He revealed a hideous expression and his right hand reached out. He pulled the giant cultivation planet and mercilessly threw it. This old man has gathered 2 billion water Dao disciples to worship for tens of thousands of years to create Joss flames for me. Today I'll destroy 500 million water Dao disciples to form Joss flames and kill your avatar. Then I'll go to the wind celestial realm and kill your real body. Daoist water let out a roar as the giant cultivation planet was smashed down by him and collided with the damaged hand. A loud rumble echoed. The moment the cultivation planet smashed down, a powerful force appeared. This was an energy unique to third-step cultivators. It was created from the collapse of 500 million water Dao disciples. The damaged arm immediately collapsed. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The ancient voice let out a muffled groan as he was injured. The voice and the wind hand disappeared. Old fellow, you coming to stop me means that this ant is important, which makes me want to kill him even more. Now that your avatar has died to the Joss flame of my water Dao disciples, who can stop me? Daoist water's expression was extremely hideous. The 7-colored nail was rotating between his eyebrows but couldn't penetrate more than 3 inches. However, the part that entered his skull had begun to melt, causing a hint of madness in Daoist water. Daoist water suddenly turned around and charged at Wang Lin. His fingers opened up and he closed in with killing intent. However, just at this moment, a shocking change occurred. A finger made of wind suddenly appeared between Daoist water's eyebrows and pressed down on the 7-colored nail. Daoist water's expression changed greatly and he stopped. Countless shadows appeared before him to block it, and he quickly retreated. You're still not dead. This finger appeared too suddenly, without any warning. Daoist water thought he had destroyed the other person's avatar, and his mind was being affected by the madness from the 7-colored nail when it appeared. This finger appeared at a heavenly opportunity. There was no better time for it to appear. It was right when Daoist water was defenseless. Daoist water's expression changed greatly and his speed of retreat reached a limit, but he still couldn't dodge. The shadows that appeared before him attempted to dodge, but they suddenly collapsed. Rumbling sounds echoed across the world as the shadows were all destroyed by the finger. Finally, after destroying everything, the finger rushed out and pressed down on the 7-colored nail between Daoist water's eyebrows. An indescribably powerful force rushed out and Daoist water screamed. The 7-colored nail mercilessly stabbed in. It broke through everything by force 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches. This nail was only 7 inches long, and now it was embedded 5 inches deep. Just 2 more inches and it would be completely inside, and at that time Daoist water would be seriously injured, because this nail had pierced the spot between his eyebrows. It was a weak point for cultivators, unlike the shoulder, where Wang Lin was stabbed. At this moment of crisis, Daoist water's face turned pale and fear filled his eyes. He was well aware of how powerful the 7-colored God Void nails were. When he saw his master being stabbed by 94 nails, that painful expression was something Daoist water could never forget. Master, save me! Daoist water retreated, but the finger followed to push the nail in even more. At the moment Daoist water cried out, a powerful force came from within his body. This powerful force condensed on the back of Daoist water's right hand and turned into a charm. The moment the charm appeared, a golden light lit up the dark space and spread out. The finger pressing down toward the 7-colored nail was hit by the golden light and dissipated, releasing a hiss in the process. Lord of the Sealed Realm, back then you said this slave that had helped you a lot, so you gifted this slave a charm that would protect his life 3 times. When he betrayed you, you clearly had 2 chances to kill him, but you let him go, wasting 2 uses of the charm. In the end you died. Now tens of thousands of years have passed, and the 3rd use of the charm is being used. You're still going to protect the Dao slave that betrayed you. I admire your cultivation, but I disdain your ways. Your ideals are too inflexible. The ancient voice let out a sigh and slowly dissipated. Daoist water was soaked in sweat. At this moment, enduring the pain between his eyebrows, he felt a lingering sense of fear. He grinned and let out a roar at the sky. Master, thank you. You still have to protect me after death, which makes me somewhat sorry about what happened, but you must die, you must die. Daoist water had been shrouded by the madness from the 7-colored nail, but he was suppressing it with his powerful cultivation. However, that madness had changed his personality. Otherwise, given his cultivation level and age, he wouldn't speak like this. As long as it hasn't drilled all the way through, once I kill this ant, I can enter closed-door cultivation to force this nail out. Taoist Water's eyes lit up. He no longer hesitated and charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were still open. He felt himself slowly walk toward death as watched everything that had happened. When he saw Taoist Water charge at him, there was no panic in his eyes. Instead, there was absolute calmness, as if all the madness from before had been released with his vitality. Life and death, karmic cause and karmic effect, true and false. All of these are opposite existences. After life there is still death. I have used a fist of life, but I can still explode all the death within me. Let us both die together. I can collapse all my ancient god stars in exchange for one more attack at my peak. I can destroy my star of law in exchange for endless origin energy and split the heavens. Wang Lin seemed to become enlightened in something, and his eyes revealed a strange light. The death aura within him suddenly formed a vortex. This vortex could destroy the world, break yin and yang, and shatter reincarnation. Unexpectedly, there was a hint of essence coming from this vortex. This was essence. This was the most important thing to becoming a third-step cultivator. Wang Lin was no stranger to essence, as he had obtained some before. However, he had obtained it from the battle scrolls. It wasn't Wang Lin's own essence, but an external force. At this moment of life and death, Wang Lin gained enlightenment in life and death. The moment his death aura erupted, he comprehended his own life and death essence. Even though this essence was very little, this meant that the door to the third step had opened a crack for him. This was like a bucket of cold water being poured on Taoist water. The madness in his eyes dissipated greatly and was replaced with shock. This child has the potential to become a third-step cultivator. He actually comprehended his own essence. There are countless cultivators in this world, but third-step cultivators are extremely rare. This child could actually reach this point. If given enough time, I fear that he could become a third-step cultivator in just 1,000 years. Taoist Water's expression became gloomy, but his determination to kill Wang Lin grew even stronger. He must die. Taoist Water charged at Wang Lin. He raised his right hand and the giant cultivation planet appeared before him. He was about to use the power of this cultivation planet to crush Wang Lin, who he thought of as an ant that had turned into a mortal that had turned into someone with the potential to become a third-step cultivator. The death aura around Wang Lin rotated like crazy. The life and death essence inside was growing. Although it was slow, it was real. It seemed like it was going to break free from the death vortex and appear in this world. At this instant, the royal ancient god stars, including the just recovered sixth star, all shattered. Shattered stars. All 6 stars exploded. At this moment, an even larger vortex appeared outside the death aura vortex. This vortex was filled with unimaginable ancient god aura, and another essence came out of this vortex. This essence was born from reaching completion in the karma domain. The ancient god shattered stars were an action of karma. Without the stars shattering, how could there be power? Shatter and power were karma. In this moment of life or death, Wang Lin's shattered stars allowed him to comprehend his second essence. Karma essence. This. Taoist Water's expression changed greatly. Wang Lin's life and death essence had already shocked him. But at this moment, a monstrous wave was set off in his heart. There was actually a second essence. Just one essence is enough to become a third-step cultivator, but having 2 essences is extremely rare. Only people like Sovereign Qin Lin and other amazing talents could enter Tao with 2 essences and reach the third step. If this child can reach the third step, then the moment he enters I will be no match. My only choice will be to escape. Taoist Water had only ever met 2 people with 2 essences, Sovereign and Qin Lin. These 2 people were all extremely powerful, so much so that Taoist Water could not compare to them. However, now he was looking at a third person with 2 essences. At this moment, he even had the thought of taking Wang Lin in as a disciple. However, the moment this idea arose, it was erased by him. This child hates me to the bone, but his talent is extremely rare. Even in both the inner and outer realms, such a talent is one of a kind in tens of thousands of years. This kind of person will die by my hand. This gives me more joy than the destruction of any amount of magical treasures. Haha! Such a gifted person will be killed by me. The madness in Taoist Water's eyes became even stronger as the cultivation planet closed in on Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the star of law between Wang Lin's eyebrows suddenly collapsed. The collapse of this star of law formed a third vortex that swept the world and surrounded Wang Lin. In this third vortex there was actually essence as well. The true and false domain was contained inside his star of law. The moment this new law collapsed, the true and false domain reached completion. A true and false essence came from the vortex. This was Wang Lin's third essence. Life and death was the first essence. Karma was the second. True and false was the third essence. 3 essences suddenly rushed out from the 3 vortexes. However, they were still weak and needed a long time to grow. When they reached a certain point and became complete, Wang Lin would be able to enter Tao with 3 essences and become a heaven-shaking third-step cultivator. This scene caused Taoist Water's attack to stop, and his eyes almost popped out. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. 3 essences, 3 essences. No one in this has entered Tao with 3 essences. This child is heaven-defying. If he enters the third, even if he has just entered, I won't even be able to escape from him. 3 essences. Sovereign and Qing Lin only have 2 essences. Even Master only had 2.5, unable to completely realize the third one. How could his child have 3 essences? This kind of person is someone even the heavens will want to destroy. If he becomes a third-step cultivator, even void turbulent cultivators will be no match. He could destroy the world and rule supreme. Who the hell is he? He can't be an ordinary cultivator, but the reincarnation of some powerful cultivator. What kind of powerful cultivator would have the ability to reincarnate and cultivate 3 essences? Unless he is the reincarnation of a legendary 4th-step, heaven-trampling cultivator. Taoist Water was a 3rd-step cultivator, but at this moment he was frightened by everything he saw. Since I have provoked such an existence, I must kill him, or else there will be no place left for me. Taoist Water's face was pale as he clenched his teeth. His power as a 3rd-step cultivator erupted as he fused with the cultivation planet and smashed down on Wang Lin. Even if you are the reincarnation of a 4th-step heaven-trampling cultivator, you will still die for me. For this old man to kill this kind of person, it was worth it. Die, die, die.